Good evening. We'll go ahead and start to consider approving the minutes held from August 11th.
I make a motion to approve those minutes and sign the warrant.
Motion made second by Bob, all in favor? Second is Scott Stevens, Manhole contract renewal.
Jan and I met with Scott. We had a long talk with him. He's very appreciative that he's going to get this building for another year. It would basically put him out of business. He's been here for 41 years, and the building does have smoke detectors in it, upstairs and downstairs. When AJ gets his feet underneath him, we're going to take a look at the exit signs and reversing the doors, but at the end of the year, we'll shut the thing down if that's what you want to do. And we're putting together a committee right now, a citizens-run committee, to take a look at this thing and find out if it's feasible to put the money into it and move it forward. We'll see where it goes. But I'm making a recommendation. Making a recommendation that we allow him to sign a contract with him for another year and keep the rates at $400 a week like we have in the past, and help him through this year. He's going to be looking for another place, and he may have found something on KMD. So,
Bob, did you discuss with him any of the improvements, or have we decided that it doesn't need any improvements for him to use? We talked about maybe discussing with him about chipping in a little bit to fix something.
Talk with him about that, and he's willing to do what it takes. It's our building. If we're gonna do something with it, I don't think it's gonna be cost prohibitive to turn the doors around and put new exit signs up there. That's pretty much all it's gonna take, and clean up the combustibles that are upstairs, in which we talked with him about that. What I was going to do is I made the recommendation that he buy all the smoke detectors, but then we found out it had smoke detectors in the building. So I haven't really gone much further with that with him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you must have done a good job, because the note that I read that he wrote about how much he appreciated what you and Jan did, and the discussion you had, he must be pleased, understand that we're in a bind, and he's pleased with what we did. You did.
And he was receptive. He was pretty heartbroken, though. I mean, there's no question about it, but he does understand. He knows the building has a lot of deficiencies, and it is basically a fire truck. Didn't want to have that conversation with him. He's got a lot of political might, given the fact that he probably helped every girl dance in the town of Oakland, and that was actually talked about. So I want to treat him nicely and get through this year with him. So.
I'll make a motion, we continue his contract for one more year.
Motion made second by Bob. There you go. All in favor? There's a vote on town office project.
Okay, we've actually got 4 of the committee members sitting in here: Kelly, Jan, John, and myself. And we had a meeting on a week ago Tuesday. I think I've sent you a copy of the estimate on it. The project's going to come out at $3.573 million and $354 a square foot, which is tremendously more expensive than $2.1 million. And so the committee voted to shelf the project for a year, see where the economy's going, see if the building material's coming down. Kelly and I met with the Worthies yesterday. We're still negotiating on that piece of property. So we've got some irons in the fire on that. If we can get them out of there and we can actually take possession of that property, then we could technically build a building with just 1 floor, which is going to be a heck of a lot cheaper than building 2 floors, because you get away from the elevators, you get away from all the fire safety codes with 2 different floors. So I'm making a recommendation, the committee has made a recommendation that we pause this thing and not bring it to the voters. Now, having said that, I truly believe that if we did have it on the ballot in November, the voters would support this. But I can't keep the taxes status quo if we go in there with a $3.5 million bill. I know that Augusta's moving forward with their 20 and a half. I guess that's up to $23 million now for the police department. And but I sold this project, or we sold this project to the community based on no tax increases. And I will lose my credibility if I have to raise property taxes on the territory.
just random thought, if we try to figure out what a building would cost on our lot down on Fairfield Street.
That's-
It gets away from our compound or a little knit center here,
We
but
haven't done that yet, Dave, because what that's gonna entitle is the architect design and redesign for us. So there's an extra $10,000 in that, which we're gonna have to pay anyways. And, I mean, we don't have enough time to pull that all together before November. You know, it
right,
really have
we
to
can
cost.
push it out
out.
6 months to a summer vote or something.
You know, that was your idea, and I really thought that wasn't a bad idea. And that still may be the option that we have to look at. It all depends on what happens with this Worthy property, because if we wouldn't have got this property, we would have been building this building 15 feet off from this barn, property setbacks. You know, and that's gonna be a problem, you know, so.
I still question whether DOT would allow us to build something close to that corner, because I anticipate them changing that entire intersection around and meeting that corner.
But if we had the Worthy property, we can rearrange that building a lot of different ways to make this thing all pull together.
Just some thoughts.
Yeah, well, those are all good thoughts.
Well,
I would think too that the cost of materials now is driving up the price of the,
That's
and
phenomenal.
waiting a year, maybe, God willing, there will be some adjustments in the.
It's all based on the cost of materials and the cost of labor right now, because there's a labor shortage for one thing. And these companies who are building this stuff are right out straight, and they can't find help to do it, so they get premium prices. And,
So I think there are a lot of good reasons for waiting a year, and it's 1 year in the life of the town. I don't think it's a big deal.
the other advantage to that is gonna give my team a break. I mean, these guys have been swamped. They haven't had, it's been a rough few years, and, well,
John,
One of the things that bothered me a lot is I think it's a risky project to try to do this year with the economy the way it is. Materials, you go try to find materials, they don't have it, they don't order it, they can't tell you when it's coming in, and they can't even tell you what the price is gonna be until the day it comes in. To try to do a project on that kind of, situation of a 10% contingency, the odds are not in your favor, in my opinion.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I think you've gained a lot of credibility with the people in town to do the logical thing, is to wait until you can tell them
it's killing us.
facts, you know?
It's killing us to do that,
Yeah, I
because
know.
this has been one of my missions, and to take a pause on this thing, it's,
Just want to get out of the basement.
but you're right, we're trying to work it too hard to make it happen. We just gotta do the smart thing back.
Maybe to the attic.
What's that?
Yeah, or the attic.
Yeah, we gotta get around the basement somehow.
Yeah.
So if I could have a motion and vote on that?
I'd make that motion that we put off trying to get the price of the new town office on this year's ballot in November.
second, all in favor? Next item is carrying forward for Kelly.
So, yeah, last meeting, we discussed our balance carry forwards, and there was like a 3-week period where our property maintenance supervisor was out, Gary was out, I was out, and we didn't connect with him. When he got back, he really would like to carry forward $11,149 of his budget for projects that he didn't get to. So the one with the pink star is the new one, and the box around it is property maintenance carry forward request. We still have a very healthy fund balance addition on the next page. Halfway down, remaining balance to fund balance is 1.3.
So what's the project?
The building maintenance stuff, there was $1,100.
And what that,
Yeah.
Bob, is they're putting the septic system in down at the Saxton's garage, because right now all they have is just a holding tank, and they have to pump that 3 times a year, so they put the small.
Oh, yeah, I
field.
remember that from the.
And that's, the contracted service is for tree removal, because there's still trees in there that need to come down. Just, you can't hire people right now to do this stuff, and so we want to carry that forward because those are still projects that are pending. The cemetery improvements, again, that's projects that never got to this year. And that's why, part of the reason why it's not a bad idea to give these guys a break so they can catch up on their own stuff.
Okay.
Motion.
I make a motion, we approve the new carry forward sheet, including $11,149.63 from property maintenance.
Second made, second by Bob, all in favor? Next one, second reading for solar array ordinance.
No changes, got a clean sheet. No questions, I take a motion and a vote.
There's no change. I'll make a motion, we consider this the second reading on the solar array ordinance.
Motion made, second by David, all in favor? Number 6 is to appoint Angela Jurek to appeal the board as an alternate.
Jan, do you have anything
No,
to
ma'am.
speak to on that?
Yeah, Dave Savage came to me and asked, and Angela, I guess they had some conversation with Angela, and she would like to serve in that capacity. It would be an alternate position. We don't have anybody in that one right now, and so the term would expire in 2024.
So move.
Second? All in favor?
What, wait. Why? So we have one person who's applied for a job for a position that we have nobody in, but they're going to be in that position without being really elected for a period of 3 years?
Right, these are appointed positions.
They're appointed.
They're appointed by you with the appeals board, and we currently have had a vacancy in that
Okay, gotcha.
appeals board.
Dave's using the appeals board and all these other organizations much more than they've ever been used before. In the last couple of meetings that they've had, they were too short-handed to go and be able to hold a meeting, so having an alternate to come in and fill that.
Okay, I'm good.
Move approved, all second, all in favor? John, did you have anything else tonight? Ma'am, did you have anything tonight? Very good. At this time, we'd like to enter into an executive session for personnel matters of 1 MRSA, section 4056A. Thank you, good night.
Good night.
Any second, all in favor?
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I did.
You did, thank you.